Hey Procraftinators, today I am sharing an unboxing plus 5 card one kit video for the Create an Inkspire September 2020 card kit. So you do get a sweet treat plus a little factoid about that, and it is the gummy bears this month. Yay, I love gummy bears. So we're starting off, we get some foam squares from Scrapbook Adhesive and the Pear Blossom Easy Light. Yay, I haven't been able to try one of those yet, so I was pretty excited about that. And then we're starting off with the stamp set here. So we've got some Halloween related images, a witch hat, a coffin, a broom, a candlestick, that kind of stuff. And then we've got the Haunted Greetings stamp set. We got Trick or Treat, Boo, Have a Spooktacular Day, Have a Witchin' Good Halloween, and Happy Halloween. And you will notice that my Have a Witchin' Halloween is missing the A. That is because I've got a sample stamp set there, and yours will have the A in it. Then we've got some spider web A2 sized pattern papers there, and one in white and one in black. And then we've got some Trinity Stamps embellishments, and these are fun little embellishments. They've got pumpkins, a spider, bat, some little clear sequins there, some Happy Halloween that I'm pulling out here, and there was a skull and crossbones too, but I apparently did not get that in my hand when I poured some out. So those are great for shaker cards and whatnot, and that's what you'll be seeing me use those for later on when we make the cards. Putting those away. And then we've got a piece of vellum here, and that is for, your shaker cards or your easy lights, which is what you'll see me use it for. We've got 2 pieces of black cardstock. Just getting that out for you so you can see there's 2 pieces. Zooming out for the cardstock. And then we've got 2 pieces of Nina Classic Crest Solar White in 80 pound. So that is the kit contents. And then we have an add-on here of some pattern paper. These are double-sided. One side will be white and black. White is the majority part of it. And the other side will be the same pattern with black on the outside, with black being the majority of it. So I'm just going to flip through these real quick. So as you can see, this is the black side with the white images, and this is the white side with the black images. We've got some spiders here. Getting the white side. And then we've got some half spider webs, black, and then the white side. Sorry about my camera. My autofocus is kind of touchy. And we've got some full spider webs here with the black side. And then the white side. And then we've got some little cut aparts here. This is the black side, obviously, and then the white side. And then mine got a little out of order because I needed to see if these were foilable for Courtney. Her laminator broke. So this is foilable. This is foiled with some Brutus Monroe foil. Now I'm just going to dig through here and find one that wasn't foiled so you can see what it looks like without the foil. So compared with the foil and then without the foil. So you can see the black side and the white side. And I ended up not using that pieces in my card. I was going to use it, and then I decided the way I had my idea laid out, I didn't want to use the foiled side. So now I'm just going to lay out all the pieces here so you can see everything included in the kit, plus those add-on papers. And that is the kit for you. Now here are my 5 cards that we're going to be making today. And then here's the first card that we're going to make. So I'm just going to start off with that haunted stamp set, and I'm going to use the coffin in the stamp set, and we're going to use that on the black paper included in the set, or in the kit. And I'm just going to use my anti-static powder tool because we're going to be doing some heat embossing. So I'm going to use a Versamark and ink that stamp up real good. And then we're just going to stamp it down. Now, if you do decide to copy this card, I would suggest that you move your stamp up just a little bit. I just barely did this, so I didn't have to redo it. Well, you'll see in a minute. But I probably should have moved it up a little bit, but I got real lucky here. So I'm just covering this in some Simon Says Stamp white detail embossing powder. Got a little overzealous with my flicking there. Now I'm just going to score right along the edge of this coffin. And I'm trying to get this in the groove. Score right along the edge. And we're just going to fold it over. And then I'm going to cut along the bottom and then along the other sides, and not on the score line, obviously. But as you can see, the bottom edge there, I just barely got that. I thought I was going to have to redo it because I thought my bottom piece there wasn't going to be enough once I folded it over, if that makes any sense. But I thought I wasn't going to have enough paper on the back. But I did, barely. All right, so now I've just got like a mini card coffin, basically. So now we're going to stamp Trick or Treat from the Haunted Greetings stamp set on the inside. I'm going to prep that with my anti-static powder tool again. We're going to stamp that in Versamark. And then we're going to white heat emboss that as well with that same Simon Says Stamp white detail embossing powder. All right, get that out of my stamping tool, clean my stamp there. Usually I take that out, but I missed that one. Then we're just going to cover that with the white detail embossing powder, and then I will heat set that off screen. All right, so then I decided I wanted to see if ink blending would work on this this cardstock. It's kind of glossy, and it does work, but it's kind of tough to get your brush across it. The brush kind of, I don't know, it's very, the brush is resistant to the paper, or the paper's resistant to the brush. I don't know how you want to put it, but it was kind of hard. It wanted to like drag across the paper, and the ink went on there, but as you'll see here in the bottom right hand corner, I get this streak. And no matter what I did, the ink did not want to go on that little streak there. So it wasn't a big deal. I kind of, you can't really see it on camera, but I did somewhat make it look less noticeable. I ended up splattering some shimmer powder or shimmer spray on there, and yeah, here we go. And so it kind of made the whole thing look like blotchy and streaky, but the camera doesn't really pick it up, so it just made it look a little less noticeable. I don't know if it was like oils in my hands that made that streak or what, because I know glossy paper can be kind of weird with the oils in your hands, but either way, that streak was just not going to go away. And the reason why I didn't ink blend the middle is because I knew I was going to do this right here. And I did cover up some of the streak with this purple piece of paper too. So this is a pearlized paper. It doesn't show up a ton on camera, but it is pearlized. And then I'm just going to glue my coffin down. I've been having a hard time with making things straight. That's why I keep holding it up like that, by the way. You'll see me do it a couple times in the video. I don't know what is my deal with eyeballing things straight lately, but it's, yeah. And it's easier for me to see if it's straight or not if I hold it up. All right, so now I'm just going to take that Haunted Greetings again. One of the greetings from that, I believe this is Happy Halloween. And I'm just going to white heat emboss that on a piece of this black cardstock that is included in the kit. And then I'm going to cut that out off screen on my paper trimmer and just make it a little strip. And we're just going to put that on the bottom of the purple, just like that. I'm just going to adhere that straight down. And then just for time purposes, because this video was extremely long, I just mounted that on my card base off screen. And then I'm just going to take one of the images from the Haunted stamp set and one of the greetings, Have a Spooktacular Day, and we're just going to stamp that in Versafine Claire Nocturne. And then that finishes up card number 1. And here you can kind of see the shimmer powder, or the shimmer paper that I used, but the shimmer spray didn't really show up a ton. Sometimes you get it on camera and sometimes you just don't. So here is a picture showing the open little coffin and then the inside of my card. Then we're going to be moving on to card number 2, and this is a little bit of a scene card, 1-layer card. And I'm just going to stamp down the cauldron and the witch's hat. And I'm using Gina K amalgam ink because I am going to be doing some Copic coloring. Unfortunately, my video for the Copic coloring didn't turn out so well, so we're not going to actually do the Copic coloring on screen, but that's all right. So I am going to mask off this hat because it is going to be on top of the pumpkin's head. So we're going to mask that off. And then we're going to stamp the jack-o'-lantern. All right, stamp the jack-o'-lantern, and then we are going to mask off the jack-o'-lantern. And I do use Avery removable ID labels for my masking paper, just because a lot comes in a package. It's not terribly expensive. It's removable. It doesn't hurt my paper, anything like that. You just can't really use a whole lot of wet mediums with it. Can't get the paper real wet, or otherwise it becomes problematic. But otherwise, it's fairly cheap for masking paper. For this kind of stuff, it works out great. So I masked off the jack-o'-lantern, and then we're going to stamp the broom. Get that nice and crisp, and then I'm going to mask off the broom because I'm going to be doing some ink blending, so I do need to mask everything off that I've got stamped here. So I'm going to remove this from the positioner, and I'm going to mask off the cauldron next. I did have a little bit of problems lining this up for whatever reason. It's not a very hard image to line up, but some days I get things straight and some days I don't, like I said. So maybe I need to start wearing my glasses while I craft. All right, so then I pulled out the Clouds and Grass stencil, and I believe this was from the first Create and Inkspire kit in July. And I decided to add some grass to the bottom of my scene here. So I inked it up in Mode Lawn, and then I pulled up the stencil, put it up a little bit higher, shifted it, and then I'm inking it up in peeled paint. And this just gives me a little bit of interest and dimension to my grass. And I'm just going to wipe off the stencil here, and then we're going to move on to clouds. So I'm going to do the clouds in chipped sapphire. I'm just going to start on the stencil and pull the ink up towards the top of the stencil. That gives me a nice distinct line of clouds. And then I'm just going to shift this stencil because there's only one side of clouds to this stencil. I'm just going to shift it and give it a little bit of variation. I ended up not doing this a whole lot down the page because I realized I was going to be doing various colors and it really probably wasn't going to make a difference anyway. So I just went all the way down, and then I changed to Dusty Concord, and I put that in between the blue clouds. And I'm going to go all the way down with the Dusty Concord in between all of the blue clouds. And I'm not going to show all of this because there was a lot of clouds that I did, a lot. And you do not want to watch me do all of this. So I'm just going to show a couple here where I did in between all the blue with the Dusty Concord, and then we will move on. After I got done with this, I decided that it wasn't dark enough. So I went every other purple cloud, I went over it with Seedless Preserves just to darken it up a little bit. And that did a little bit. I still wasn't really happy with it. The sky ended up a lot lighter than I wanted it to. But anyway, so then I went in with peacock feathers, and I went in between some of the purple clouds and between some of the blue clouds, just kind of randomly with peacock feathers. And that just gave me a different look. It still wasn't exactly what I was envisioning, a dark sky, but I didn't pick the right colors for that. Anyway, it gave me an interesting sky. So now I'm just going to pull off all of these masks, show you what that looks like. And then, like I said, I cut out all the coloring because my autofocus wasn't working the way I wanted it to, so it turned out crappy. So we're going to, through the magic of editing, it's going to be all colored. Yay! Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment, and I am using that Have a Witchin' Halloween, but because mine was missing the A, I found another stamp set in my stash that had an A all by itself, and so I used that. These stamps were not the same thickness, so I just had to give it a little push there. And there we go. That is the finished card. We're just going to look at some finished card pictures here. And then we're going to move on to card number 3. And I went all out with the foils here because, like I said, those pattern papers in the kit and in the add-on kit are foilable. So I am showing you here the originals, and then I'm going to show you what they look like foiled. Here you go. And these are the foils I used. I used iCraft Deco Foil and Amethyst Watercolor and Emerald Watercolor. And then that orange piece off to the underneath that purple one here, I'm going to glue right here. That is a piece of holographic paper that I got from Dollar Tree a really long time ago. It's a holographic poster board. So that's just kind of a random little tidbit there. So then I'm just going to glue all these little pieces together because I have lots of little mats here. And then that's going to basically be this card. I did a lot of foiling off screen and did a lot of layers. So you'll see that the back of this is kind of messed up. Just a little word to the wise here. Because there's toner on both sides of the pattern paper in the add-on kit, the toner will heat up, and that's what kind of attaches it to the foil. But because you have it on both sides of the pattern paper in the add-on kit, I use a piece of copy paper for my carrier sheet. And what happened there was that I left it in the copy paper to cool down, and the toner on the backside stuck to the copy paper. And so that's why it looks so crappy on the backside. I mean, you glue it down, so it's not a big deal, but it stuck and ripped the copy paper carrier sheet. So just a little word to the wise there. If you want to save your copy paper and reuse it, take it out while it's still warm. So I just used some scrapbook adhesive that was included in the kit to mount that little piece on the front. And then I'm just going to use another piece of the cut apart from the add-on kit and mount it on another piece of that holographic poster board from Dollar Tree. And that's going to finish off the inside of my card here. And I thought that little boo was kind of cute. So I'm just going to put that on the inside. And then we're just going to take a quick look at the finished card here. Lots of shine. I totally went overboard on the foil, but I think it is fabulous. I suppose if you don't like foil, you may not think it's so fabulous, but I love it. So there is some finished card pictures here. And then we will move on to card number 4, I believe, is where we're at. So this is a shaker card, and guys, I am really not a shaker card person, but I decided because it had the shaker card bits or embellishments that I was going to do this. So I took the spider web pattern paper that is included in the kit, that's not an add-on, and I put score tape on the back of, well, okay, I used a Grand Labels die 4 from Spellbinders, and I cut the middle out of it. And then I put score tape on the back of it, and I put acetate on the back of it. And now I doubled up my foam tape. Well, okay, I lie. I didn't double up my foam tape first, and I put it all together, and my bits did not shake. But anyway, so now we're going to double up the foam. I'd rip everything apart, and we're going to double up the foam tape and put it on the back of it so my bits shake. Okay, that sounds wrong. My bits shake. Anyway. Now we're putting the foam tape on the back of it. You know, what goes with shakers, you got to make sure your foam tape, you know, connects. You don't have any gaps in your foam tape so your shaker bits don't fall out. Still laughing at that. All right. Get back to the shaker card here. So the Happy Halloween, make sure that it's facing the right way. So when you have your shaker card facing the correct way, your Happy Halloween is not backwards. Put your pumpkins and your bats and all that stuff in there. I did mess with this for quite a while because I wanted to make sure that there was a good amount of everything and we didn't have a bunch of bats and no spiders and that kind of stuff. I'm not going to make you watch all of that. Then I'm adding anti-static powder tool to the edge of my foam tape here so nothing sticks. All my shaker bits don't stick to the edge. And then I'm going to remove the backing of my foam tape, and we will put the back of my card on. Well, it's not the back, well, it's the back panel, we'll call it that. And then we're going to test everything out. And this time my bits did shake. Instead of the first time I put it together and things did not work. All right, so then I decided that if you've been on my channel before, you know that I have made a double shaker card or a shaker on top of a shaker or whatever you want to call it. I decided I wanted to do that again because it would be, you know, fun. Well, it was not fun. So I'm stamping Trick or Treat in Versamark ink on this little circle that I cut with a Spellbinder's circle die. And then I cut a frame with two of the Spellbinder's circle dies out of craft foam and then out of this purple piece here, which is the same pearlescent purple that I used on a couple cards ago. And now I'm putting some thin score tape on it. And I'm going to put it on this foam piece before I put acetate on there. Because, you know, I've got to do things wrong. So don't do that. Put your acetate in between this little circle frame and the foam. Don't be like me. So I do fix this off screen. We're just going to skip right over that though, because my video is really long and I didn't want to have to go through all that. So pretend that there's acetate in there because there's going to be in here in a minute. And then because craft foam will stretch when you put it through your die cutting machine, I'm just going to trim off the edge here. I just figured that cutting the craft foam would be easier than trying to cut little teeny tiny strips of foam tape and then trying to make them go in a circle and, you know, all that nonsense. So then I put the score tape on the back of the craft foam, and then we're going to attach it to the Trick or Treat. You put your shaker bits in there because you know, when you do this, you're going to have acetate on your piece here, which I do not at this point. But here in a minute, this is all going to be put together like magic. Ta-da! And then I put some score tape on the back of this, and I'm adhering it to the acetate on the bottom shaker. And now we have a double shaker card that went, you know, wrong 7 ways to Sunday, but it's there. It's together now. So anyways, before I put the stuff on the or before I put the front on it, I'm going to put one of these cut aparts on the inside and just going to trim off the edge here. And then I'm going to mount it on some of that pearlized purple paper from my stash, just to bring some of that purple from the outside to the inside and make it matchy match. We're going to adhere that to the inside. And then here's the finished card, all mounted and whatnot. Shaky shake. Everything shakes, all nice. And then you can see, oh, I don't think I mentioned in the beginning, I did foil that with some of that emerald amethyst foil. I did foil the spider webs. I don't think I mentioned that in the beginning, sorry. And there's the finished card. And then we're going to move on to card number 5. So I foiled this piece with some of that amethyst foil. And for what I don't think I let my laminator heat up all the way, because it kind of did a distressed look in the background, which really kind of looked like clouds in person. It doesn't here. I don't know. My camera did not pick up the foil very well on this. So it kind of looked like a stormy, cloudy sky on that piece. And then I cut out the windows with an X-Acto knife. And then I took a circle die and cut through these two pieces. And I should have just glued them together to begin with. I do not know why I taped these two pieces together. Just ignore that. Just glue yours together if you do this. And I wanted a hole in the back of this piece because I'm going to run the Easy Light wires through this. So I got them all glued together. And now I'm going to take the nope, I'm not. I lie. I'm going to take the vellum from the kit and I'm going to glue it to the back of this piece here, because our lights are going to shine through those windows, or at least a few of them. And then I'm taking a yellow Copic marker and I'm going to go over the windows in the back here, just to make them, you know, shine yellow instead of white, because the lights are white on the Easy Lights. And then I'm going to take the Easy Light here and get it out of the packaging. And there are 3 lights, or 3 wires and 3 lights on the, well, a light on each of the wires. There's 3 wires and there's a light on each of the wires. So I'm going to feed it through my little backer piece here. And then I'm going to take some Scotch tape and I'm going to tape it to the back where I want each of these lights to shine. Now, I did this wrong. Because of the way that I wanted this to adhere to the black and the orange piece there. I taped my my lights down, and then when I went to put it on the back, you'll see here in a minute, the tape was in the way. The tape and the wire were in the way. They didn't want to fit through that hole. So I had to go back and redo this. But if you don't have a hole that you need to line your paper up with, this would be a fine way to do it. But I didn't think about this. So it's no big deal. I just had to move the tape and the wires to make it fit through my hole. Well, and I had to make the hole bigger to make everything work. But it's no big deal. This is how you would do it. You just tape down the lights to where you need them to be. It's not a big deal. The lights are like they shine one direction, so that's why you see me twisting the lights to make them go a certain way. But see, everything lights up. And then I go here, and now my piece won't go down far enough because the tape and the wire was in the way. But not a big deal. So I'm just going to cut a bigger hole here, feed my lights back through, and I had already moved them at this point to make everything work right. Now everything fits, and I'm going to glue this piece down. I hope that wasn't confusing. It was just a situational problem by the way I did this card. Just make sure if you have a specific spot that you need your wires to go, make sure you don't tape them down so they're not, just make sure you tape everything right. All right, so now I got them all in place, and then I've got my background pieces here. These again are the pattern papers from the add-on. I'm just going to glue this down. This piece I have longer than I need it to be, but this is just so I can put it exactly the way I want it. I didn't want a bunch of these lines to line up with the lines on the background paper. So I just glued it down, and then I'm just going to cut off the excess here with my scissors. And then we're going to figure out where I want this piece, this panel at, and cut a hole in the back of that one for my easy lights to go through again. I'm going to use that same Spellbinders die for that and run that through my Spellbinders Grand Caliber. There we go. We got another hole. Feed my light through there. And then we're going to glue this one down. And this looks really complicated. It's just because, I mean, it's not complicated at all. I just wanted to make a real layered card, a card that had a lot of layers to it. So I had to cut a lot of holes for my wires to go through. It's really not that complicated though. All right, so then we're just going to glue this down, like I said, and then we're going to get our card base, and we're going to get the foam tape and make, oh, I lie. I'm going to stamp the inside first because you don't want a bunch of foam tape when you're going to stamp the inside. All right, so I'm taking the Haunted and the Haunted Greetings stamp set and stamp that little pumpkin and the greeting, have a spooktacular day. All right, now we're going to take this little piece here, the button, and we're going to adhere it with score tape. And I wanted my button to be in the corner, so that's where I'm going to attach that. And some people hook this to their panel, some people hook it to the card base. It doesn't really matter. I hooked mine to the card base. And then I'm going to double up my foam tape. It depends on how thick your foam tape is, whether you're going to have to double it up or not. I need to double up mine because my foam tape's rather thin. And then I'm just going to put the foam tape all over the card base. And I'm not going to make you sit there and watch all of that. And then I removed the backing paper, and now I'm just going to line up my card panel with my card base. Just kind of curl those wires out of the way. And put my card panel on. And then we're going to make a little note or what, a little place to tell people to press the button. So I've got the Lawn Fawn Push Here stamp set because I've made plenty of light up cards before, so I have this stamp set. And I stamped that in Versamark ink on one of the little circles that I had punched out of the black mat for the front of my card. I just reused that. Stamped that in Versamark, and heat embossed it with Simon Says Stamp, a white embossing powder, and I'm just going to adhere that to the corner there. And here is the final card. I hope that you enjoyed the cards for today. You can get your kits at createaninkspire.com. I will have that link in the description box below. Don't forget that members get a 10% off discount. You must log in to get that discount. You can also get another 10% off by using the code Amanda10. Amanda must be in all caps. That code will be good for 3 days after this video goes live. This video goes live on 9/20/2020. And as always, have a great day.